Good evening, everyone. Welcome to our Theta Talks for this evening. My name is Maisha Chalani, and I will be soon joined by Sanaya Gornamal. So we are here as in order to give you guys some insights into theta healing, into understanding a little bit more, understanding yourselves a little bit more, and so that you can see how amazing and awesome theta healing is. So our topic for today is a very interesting one. It's called the body's lie detector test. So we'll go a little bit into the body tells the truth. Does the body lie? So we're going into a little bit of that, and we are going to then explore a little bit more about how we can do that in theta healing. So I am very excited about this episode. So if you do have any questions about the body, the cells, theta healing, anything related to this, please do let me know. And don't forget that we will have virtue cards that are going to be picked later on in the segment. Okay, I am just looking for my partner in crime. Sometimes what happens is she cannot see me. But meanwhile, how is everyone doing? Theta Talk so far. What is the feedback? What do you think of it? Anything that you'd like to add or anything more? Hello.
Hello, hello. So I'm testing out my new mic, Maisha, so I want to make sure you can hear me.
Yes, I can hear you.
Ooh, cool. Am I clearer than I
I
normally
was
am?
I was just asking our audience for some feedback on Theta Talks and what they've been thinking.
Oh, wow. Great question. And what did you get?
I just asked that question, so I'm waiting for anybody to comment
Okay.
while you
Cool.
set up.
Okay, I'm ready.
Oops.
I think I'm ready.
All right.
There.
Okay.
All right.
Awesome.
So,
So our topic for today, I was just telling our audience, is a very interesting one: the body's lie detector test,
mhm.
right? And that weaves into theta healing and what we actually learn how to do, which is pretty cool. So I wanted to kind of introduce a little bit the idea of and how it carries cellular memories. Did you guys just lose
Yeah.
me? Oh, you can hear me? Okay, awesome.
No, go ahead.
So
Go ahead.
I wanted to go into, I mean, the fact that the body lies versus it tells the truth means the body has that ability, right? So I want to talk a little bit about how our body has that ability to do that, either
Yeah.
tell the truth or understand whether it's not something that we believe to be true.
Right. So basically, today's topic, which is the body's lie detector, right, is really about this ability that we have as theta healers to sometimes to sometimes learn the truth that our clients sometimes that our clients have not admitted to themselves, or that our clients may not be aware of. So I'm probably, not explaining this as well as I could. So help me out here, Maisha. So let's
Yeah.
say I'm
So can I
muscle. Yeah, go ahead.
giving just a little bit of a backstory into it. I heard a very good analogy or explanation on this, right? So whenever we think a thought, right, whether it's positive or negative, it has to go somewhere. That's the law of thermodynamics, right? The law of thermodynamics basically says it has to be transferred or transmuted, or in easier terms, it has to go somewhere or become something,
So basically,
right?
what
It
you're talking
doesn't
about
disappear.
is what you're talking about is energy. Energy cannot
Energy.
disappear. It has to be transformed.
Or
Um,
created, yeah.
yeah, it has to be transferred or transformed because a thought is an energy that's being created. So yes, by that virtue, our thoughts can't just disappear. They got to go somewhere because it's a form of energy. Okay, got it.
Correct.
Go ahead.
Right? So where do they go? If it's something positive or something negative, they go back into our cells or in our body. It doesn't go anywhere else,
Okay.
right? And hence, our body is carrying a lot of memories and experiences and energy relating to the thoughts that we think. So
Right.
it's stored in the cells in our body, in our what we call cellular memory,
Mm-hmm.
right? So, as a result of that, when we tap into or use this lie detector test that we're talking about, we can actually know what the body is carrying, and hence the subconscious mind to know if something is true or something may not be what the client actually believes to be true.
So let's roll that back even further, right? Ultimately, what we believe is what we make true because our brain has only one job, which is to keep us safe. And the way it does that is by holding certain notions, ideas, or beliefs about life, and then deciding how it can protect us
And
from undesirable
keep us
or
safe.
uncomfortable, yeah, situations, right?
Yeah.
So, for example, if we believe that money is difficult to make, right? That's our belief. Then, in our experience, we will struggle when it comes to making money. That's a belief. And that is something we believe and we make true in our life, right? So, one of the things that we do with theta healing is identify these negative or faulty beliefs. You could call them limiting beliefs, you could call it a negative mindset, you could call it a mental block, right? And it's
Yeah.
these things that we believe that are negative that basically attract to us or bring us negative experiences, right? So, negative beliefs that we believe create negative experiences of life, which then cause us pain, discomfort, right? It causes
And
us.
we can do that the other way around too, with positive beliefs, right? So if we are thinking positive, that's the type of situations and scenarios that come back to us. So we follow the same format.
And we can use the analogy of the glass half empty or the glass half full, right? It's the same amount of water in the glass, but you can choose to see it as a glass half empty, right? Which is a more negative perspective. It's half empty, there's only half left, right?
Yeah,
And that would be a negative perspective. Or you can see it as half full, which is a bit more empowering and feels better than it's half empty because that suggests lack. Whereas half full is like, oh, it's still full. There's still water in there,
yeah.
right? And based on whether we see life as half empty or half full, right? We then experience our life in a more positive or in a more negative way,
Negative. It's like
right?
a filter that we have, right? Yeah.
Correct. And so what's really interesting about that is if you walk around with a positive filter or that positive perspective, you will always see possibilities, opportunities, blessings, right? You will see those
Following
things,
you
but if
everywhere. Yeah,
they'll
absolutely.
show up and you'll see them, they'll be like right in front of you, right? And on the other hand, if you have this glass half empty perspective, all you'll see is, life is tough. Things never go my way. I never get what I want. You'll just keep seeing all these negative aspects of your life, and you will completely miss the possibilities, the opportunities that you just won't see it. You'll only see what you're proving to be
To be
correct,
right.
which is life is hard, life is difficult, right? Okay, so we get that, right? So we're basically helping you guys understand how this body's lie detector connects to this. So we establish now we have beliefs, and our perspective, our mindset creates the experiences we have, right? Now, one of the things we do in theta healing is we talked about the scan last week, right?
Yeah.
The next
Yeah.
thing we do is look for negative beliefs or faulty patterns or programs that a person is carrying in their subconscious. Now, if I were to scan you and say, hey, Maisha, it looks like you're a very, negative person, right? You're just going to be like,
Oh,
who are
I
you to
don't
tell me
believe
that?
you. Yeah.
Yeah, right? But what we do instead is we never do that, right? We never scan and say, hey, you're this or that. We scan to find out what's going on in your subconscious. And then we ask you to muscle test, right? And the
Mm,
muscle testing is the body's lie detector test, which is the subject of today's topic.
yes.
Now, there are two different kinds of muscle testing. We do, when we're working with a client in person, we take their fingers and we use kinesiology, it's body kind of mechanics, to identify what the client believes. We don't tell them what they believe, we show them what they believe through the muscle testing process, right? And if we are doing it virtually, then there's a different method. It's called the standing method. Um, both are methods, or both are kinesiology techniques, or they're both part of kinesiology. And it is the study of using the body's mechanics to identify, to understand what's going on. And a lot of people who do like allergy testing, they
They
use the
use
same method.
this. Yeah,
Yeah. So
absolutely.
there are many practitioners who are working with allergies, and they can use kinesiology to find out if the person is allergic to this food or that food or
And
this
maybe
substance and so on.
some people have seen it by putting their arms out and doing that kind of technique where, you've heard or seen people pushing. That's
Yeah.
one version of it that is used
Yes.
in kinesiology.
So what we do then is we don't tell you what we scan, right? We ask you to muscle test if your subconscious is holding on to that negative belief. Because if it is, right, and that is obviously not working for you, then our job as practitioners is to remove the faulty belief, to remove these negative programs. So another word for a belief is a program. So a group of beliefs may create a program in our mind. For
And then
example,
a program keeps running
keeps
without
running.
you even realizing.
So
Yeah.
an example of a program is like a poverty mindset is a
Mm.
program. And you have many different beliefs about money that
Supporting it.
fall,
Yeah.
yeah, that are supporting this poverty mindset or an abundance mindset, right? Or, a victim mentality, right? So these all different types of programs people have: victim mentality, not good enough, worthiness issues. These are many different kinds of programs that we can have. And when we have these programs, they cause us to feel very challenged in
And
these
it's on
particular,
autopilot, right? These
right?
programs are on
For
autopilot. They
sure.
just, without you even realizing it, you're kind of living it out, right? And it ends up like we were talking about, manifesting or bringing in those type of situations in your life because it's on autopilot. You don't even know it. A lot of our clients don't even realize it till we do the muscle testing in which they're like blown away, like, whoa, what just happened?
Yeah,
Right?
agreed.
How did the, and then it clicks, and then they're like, yeah, actually, I do carry this. Or they kind of look for, they realize or it
Yeah,
surfaces, which is very interesting too.
yeah, absolutely. Now, Maisha, you're breaking up quite a bit for me.
Oh,
Um,
let me just
yeah,
check my
you want
connection.
to just check that. Meanwhile, I'm going to tell a story about my client today. We want to just double check that, okay? But so I was working with a client today, and first of all, my client is Chinese. So um, understand my life purpose, my divine timing. Can you tell me what's happening or what's blocking me? All right. And so I went in and I did a scan. And I always look for, as I've been trained to by my teacher, by Vianna herself, I always look for what's beautiful in that person because there's something beautiful in each and every one of us, right? So the first thing that I did was I saw that she had this real desire to help people and to like contribute to the world. But at the same time, I could see that her heart had been through a lot of pain and it was very closed and it made her feel alone and isolated. So I could see all these things. But of course, I didn't want to tell her all those things. So I asked her to stand up and they started muscle testing. And I just, I said the beliefs that I saw, which was that I have to sacrifice myself to be loved. I have to please other people to be loved. I'm not good enough. Okay. She had beliefs like, um, I'm not good enough, I'm not worthy, a lot of self esteem. And it was some beliefs connected to her mother as well, that no matter what I do, it's not good enough for my mother. So we had all these beliefs that I had her test that confirmed what I had seen, but also gave her clarity on what's going on in her subconscious. And then I asked her, tell me about this, tell me what happened. And she explained that, as a child, her mom used to be very abusive to her. And she knows her mother loves her, but the way she dealt with her was kind of like abusive. And her father was like a more of a quiet, gentle person, and he would never stand up for her. So she
Wow.
felt abandoned by her father because he never stepped in and told her mom, stop doing that. And she also felt like her mother, she was never good enough for her mom. So you can see where these beliefs had come from, right? From experiences with
Yeah.
her mother, experiences with her father. So our job as theta healers is to first identify what are the programs, what are the beliefs that are running our client, and where is it coming from, right? And then we go in and do the healing work in those experiences where these beliefs became formed. Okay, so any stories, Maisha, from your end? I know you probably have a lot as well. So tell me a little bit about what you've experienced with muscle testing and belief work that might give
So
people
what
an idea.
you know what was very interesting was I had a client. By the way, is this better now? There. Am I back?
Yes, you're back now.
Okay, awesome. So I had a client who sent her husband to me, and she loved theta healing. She found it amazing. So she's like, I need my husband to go. So I said, okay. Oh, I didn't even have to say okay. Basically, I saw her book him in, and then he came in for a session. So he seemed a little bit hesitant, a little bit skeptical about the whole idea. He's like, I'm here because my wife wants me to be here. So as a as a
Sounds
theta healer,
like every
you know,
man whose wife sends him to us. Most of them are kind of like, yeah, we're here because of that. But I do also see some men who are like, you know what? I saw so much change in my wife. I need to know what she's doing. I need some of
yes.
that. Whatever you're doing, I need some of that. So we do get that too. But go ahead. Tell us what
So
happened.
then I started to do what we call digging, which I'm sure we're going to go into in our upcoming topics. So I asked certain questions to kind of unravel, what's going on in his life, and then we came to some beliefs. I think there was something related to, again, worthiness. So I asked him, oh, so do you feel this way? And he's like, no. He's very like very defensive, very like, no, I don't know what you're talking about. It was just very stern. So I said, okay, you know what, let's do something called muscle testing. That will show you what beliefs you're actually carrying. So then I showed him how to do this. I explained to him how it works, and then he did it, you know. And then when he did it, he moved forward, moved backwards, and he was doing it correctly. And then when I asked him to say the belief, it showed up, and that's when he was like, "What is going on here?" You know. So I think what is super cool about this muscle testing is that it really brings up um, deep beliefs, programmings, trauma, or experiences that our mind, like you mentioned, is so good at hiding, right? And you know, with him being that man who, I don't have any problems and I don't know why I'm here, it, you know, allowed him to see that side of himself. And now he was able to be more vulnerable because he's like, okay, well, my body's telling me this. It's not me, it's not her, it's coming from within. So
The
I thought that
body
was,
the body never lies, right? So
yeah,
he might be hiding it for
absolutely.
himself. He might have been defensive, but ultimately the body doesn't lie. If you're testing those beliefs, then, as someone who's doing the testing, because we're not testing you, you're testing yourself, and you're like, oh shoot, it's true, right? But okay, how about, like, for example, Maisha, I don't use a lot of muscle testing with all my clients as I used to in the beginning of theta healing,
Correct.
because especially when I'm working with a client that I've known for a while, right? And I
You
know
just
that they
know.
recognize, right? You recognize the belief. Like if they say something like life is just so hard. I mean,
Yeah.
you don't need to
You know.
test that.
Yeah.
They're saying back. Okay, there you are. I was just saying that a lot of times we speak our beliefs, right? So when we say things like,
Right.
gosh, life is so hard, or like money is just so hard to make. I mean, I don't need to test you to know that you believe that money is hard to make or that life is
Right.
hard, right? So a lot of times we can, I keep losing you, Maisha. Okay, well, I'm gonna keep talking. I was just gonna say, so yeah, we speak our beliefs, we think our beliefs. It's kind of easy to figure out what our orientation in life is, what we believe to be true, how we think, and whether we have this ability to have our body call it out for us or not, right? You can constantly observe and listen to yourself and maybe even write down these negative beliefs that you're carrying. And when you see that list pile up, you're going to be like, wait a minute. I think I need to get rid of some of these beliefs,
Yeah.
right? I need to do something about it, because obviously if we're walking around having these very negative beliefs about life, then that is exactly what we're going to experience,
Yeah.
right? So we're just recreating what we believe to be true. Now, Ria actually says in the chat, the first time I did that, I said, whoa, it's automatic. Yeah, right? It was kind of really shocking for Ria. I remember, Ria, you worked with me and you were just like, whoa, like you were amazed. Actually, a lot of our clients, Maisha, for you too, right? Where we
Yeah.
start doing this muscle testing and they're like, oh my God, how that is so cool. How is this happening? So it's
You know
definitely
what's
a
an
super cool.
interesting one is people coming in to, find their soulmate or wanting to be with a partner,
Mhm.
right? Um, and then the first thing I'll do is muscle test that I'm ready for a soulmate or I want to be with somebody. And then boom, right in the beginning already, it's like, no, what? Wait, I don't, So I think that was also a interesting one for people to understand that maybe they're not even ready, and that muscle testing will already on onset tell you. And what I love about it is I can do it on myself as well, because sometimes we're so good at hiding, forget about other people, we're hiding our beliefs. We don't even recognize it or want to see it. So when we do our own muscle testing for ourselves or use this method to use this lie detector test on ourselves, it works just as well.
Yeah, and I love that because I can call myself out, right? I can out myself because sometimes I don't want to see my own blind spots, but then
Yeah.
I do the muscle testing and I'm like, yep, I have that belief. I had to do some work on myself, right? Because of course,
Yes.
if things are showing up in my life and I am feeling pain or discomfort, or, a couple of weeks ago, I had hives. I don't even have hives. Like, I'm not a person who breaks out into hives. But you know about this, Maisha, because you were doing some
Yes.
digging on it. But suddenly I broke out into hives. And it was really interesting because I had this big keynote presentation and I was putting a lot of pressure on myself. And so I got hives because my body was just like uncomfortable with this pressure I was putting on myself. And so I reacted with hives. And I had to sit down and muscle test first what I was feeling and what I was believing and why this was happening. I had to do a little bit of work on myself in order for my body to stop, erupting in hives. So it's really cool for us as theta healers is we get to figure out when our own beliefs are coming up and showing up because something is off in our own life, and it helps us identify what we need to work on, what we need to release or clear. So I love that we have that ability. But I mean, of course, if you're a theta healer, you know that you can do that. I can see some theta healers in the chat being like, yeah, it's so true. And I know you guys have the ability to test your own beliefs and know what's wrong. But also for someone who's not a theta healer, you can simply pay attention to the thoughts in your mind and what you say, and that will shed a lot of light on what's going on in your own subconscious.
Yeah.
Now, Maisha, we are getting to the top of the hour. Do you want to do a virtue card? Because I'm really interested to see what is the virtue card for today's conversation.
Sounds, ooh, couple flipped out at me. So I'll choose the one that did.
What did you get?
Optimism.
Optimism. Optimism.
So I wanted
Let's
to,
see.
after we explore this, I was thinking, why don't we do some downloads for everybody so they can receive this virtue as well?
Oh, that'd be great. Let's do that. Okay,
Right?
optimism. What's optimism for you?
Wow. I think that's the juice that I run from every single day. That's the battery, right? Knowing and having absolute faith that everything is always going to work out, and knowing that there's wisdom behind everything. I think optimism is kind of a great fuel and inspiration for me.
I love that you said that because I was a little like, confounded, like, what is optimism for me? But after I heard what you said, oh, of course, optimism is our program. That's the program we run that allows us to always see the opportunity, the possibility, to imagine what could be if we're optimistic. By the way, your Wi-Fi just completely sorted out.
Oops.
So if your optimism is working for you, you're good now. But anyways,
Okay, good.
optimism is the program that so many of us are running, the belief we have. And so we always see, the
Yeah.
glass half full. That's being optimistic, is constantly seeing glass half full. I love how our virtue cards always speak to
Spot
whatever our
on.
topic is. Yeah. Okay, there's a question in the chat. Can our cellular memories be released or overwritten? Of course. We release cellular memories all the time in our sessions. I just did it for my all the time, and we overwrite negative programs all the time. That's what we do as theta healers in our sessions. Absolutely. Maisha, I'm going to let you do the honors of the downloads.
Sure.
Yeah, but can I tell a
All
quick
right.
story? Can I tell a quick story before that? Yeah. Yeah.
And maybe you can
So,
introduce one of the downloads to it as well.
sorry.
Is it introduce downloads as well? And I will go straight into the downloads after your story.
Okay, great. So, anyways, I had a client today, new client, from the US, I think New York, was like, you need to go see Sanaya. Okay. And he has been working with regular, like therapy coaches. And of course, you know, he said to this person who recommended me, he's like, look, I will do anything you tell me to do because I believe it. I don't know what this is. This thing, I'm just going to trust you, but I don't get it, but I'm going to trust you. So he came in for a session and he's been struggling with something for years. Really, really strong situation in his life. And I said, look, this is what I'm good at, right? This is my genius zone, is to help you with things as 1, 2, 3 sessions, you know? So what happened is I did the first session with him. So we spent about an hour together. And he's like, I don't know what to expect. And I read a little bit about theta healing online. I don't really, understand how this would work. Especially because I've been doing this kind of therapy for so long. I know what's wrong with me. I know my triggers. I know the issues, but I can't change my behavior. So I said, look, just tell me how you feel now, and then just observe how you feel. All right. And it was really interesting because he sent me a message after the session and he's like, it's really weird, but I feel so much better. I don't feel unhappy anymore. And I have felt unhappy for so long. I'm just wondering, how
What
is
did you
it that
do?
I'm not
What
feeling
did you do?
unhappy? And he's like, I
What did
keep
you
trying to
do?
look. Exactly. He's like, I keep trying to look for the feeling of unhappiness that I have time. And I was like, listen, that's the work we do, but I don't want you to go looking for the unhappiness. It's like you just had
It's
surgery.
gone.
I don't
Yeah.
want you to like undo your stitches. So don't go looking
Mm.
for it. But the fact that you can't find it, right? It means it's gone. And it will sustain because it sustains for all my clients. I know it's going to sustain. He's not going to be able to find that feeling of happiness, though it might be something he's taken years to work on, right? It is the case that he can come in for one session and that emotion of unhappiness could be gone completely. So what I told him to do, I was like, listen, I want you to just observe, be curious. How am I behaving? How am I feeling? Just as I would ask you to observe what you're thinking and what you're saying to people, in the same way, after this healing, just observe. And that will tell you what's changed. And so it was such a great example today, Maisha, of like how theta healing is so different from regular, work that people do, whether it's with their therapist or their coach or so on. And it really is such a privilege that we can do this, right? It is such a privilege that we can do this because people struggle for years with the
No,
same issue.
and I think it's also every healing modality works, or every healing does work, whether it's, therapist, whatever it is. I think it sometimes what needs to happen is you just you've worked enough on yourself where you just need something like this to, you know, tip it over the top, and kind of like you've done all the hard work and you're ready, and when you're ready, it just kind of theta healing kind of cleans it all up and binds it all together and removes it for you.
The woman who recommended me, because this person is her client, she's working with him, but she's done theta healing with me. So what she does is when she sees a client is stuck, she sends the client to me, and she says, I'm like a vacuum cleaner. I come in and I just vacuum up all the stuff, clean it all up, and
Guggenheim.
take it out. And
Guggenheim.
I'm like, Karen, I've never been, so happy to be called a vacuum cleaner. It was
So
really,
cool.
really cool. But yeah. All right. So downloads, you are going to be giving people these positive energies We call them downloads. They basically charge you up with a certain vibration or frequency. That's a scientific explanation. But essentially, what it is it's like somebody sending you feel good vibes. And if I download on Maisha the feeling of calm and peace, she will feel so much calmer, so much more peaceful. Okay. So we can do downloads on other people and we can download ourselves. So, for example, if I'm going on stage and I am nervous, I can download myself with a sense of just confidence. I can calm my nerves. That day, we can do downloads and just, we can improve how we feel. We can change how we feel in the moment through the downloads. So take it away, Maisha. What are the downloads you're giving our listeners today?
So this is optimism, right? Our virtue for this evening is optimism. So I'm gonna do a lot of downloads involving that.
Okay.
And I just want to highlight that if any of you want to try muscle testing or experience theta healing, please do book our emotional breakthrough session. The link will be below our video. Okay, so I will go straight into the downloads. So in order to receive a download, you just have to say yes wherever you are.
Han, we can hear you, but the link for the EBS for emotional breakthrough session is bit. Hello.
Yes, here,
So
I can hear you.
the link for the emotional breakthrough session is bit.ly/e.b-s. So bit.ly/e-b-s stands for emotional breakthrough session. Okay, back to you, and we can hear you now too. So go ahead with the downloads.
Okay. So, in order to receive a download, you just close your eyes and say yes wherever you are. Even though you're listening to this later, you are still going to be able to receive it. Okay? Take a deep breath and exhale. So, do I have permission to instill the virtue of optimism, that you do know what being optimistic feels like, that you know it in every cell of your body, that your cellular memory also knows that feeling of optimism, that it is possible for you to know how to be optimistic in your life, that it is possible for you to look at the glass as half full, that you do know optimism and invite optimistic people around you, and that you are able to run your life on optimism. So please say
Yes,
yes wherever you are.
yes, please. And so I'm receiving the download as Maisha is giving it as well. And you normally feel just like a charge of energy or like a tingly feeling or warmth. I mean, it's a little bit different for everybody, but for me, I feel like an emotional charge just like kind of drops
Plugged
into my
in.
body.
Okay, so
Yeah.
can I also teach you that it is easy to be optimistic, and that you
Yes.
know how to hold this energy of optimism no matter what situation is around you, that you are able to see the wisdom because you're optimistic, because you're now um, seeing through that filter of optimism.
Yes.
Cool. So have a very optimistic week, guys. I will, or we will see you next week. What is our
Yeah.
topic for next week?
That is a really good question. I think next week we are doing, let me see. Can't seem to see what we're doing next week, Maisha.
Let's surprise everybody. Oh,
next week.
yes.
All right. So we'll be at 7:30 GMT instead of 8:30. And of course, we'll announce that on all our channels.
Perfect.
All right.
So
Until next week.
see you soon.
Oh, wait, I got it. Next week, we are talking about secrets of the body. Secrets of the body. So emotions and, what they tell us about what's going on in our body.
Awesome.
Disease,
All
we'll be
right.
talking about those kind of things. All right, you guys,
Cool.
bye. Thank you for listening in. Lots of love, everyone. Maisha, I hope you're gonna go theta heal some of your Wi-Fi connection and figure
Yeah,
out what's going on.
I shall. Okay.
Okay, bye, my dear.
Bye.